Good day, my friends. Froggy here, and welcome to my 2016 year-end Fix-It Week on my 02 VTX 1800 Retro. I'll be doing a total parts rebuild of all three calipers, converting the headlamp to LED with bucket, replacing Kirioc and stock driving lamps to their LED replacements, an oil change and some polishing. Having a lift table is a bonus. They're not expensive and worth every nickel. I do have a bike jack, mainly for cleaning because I can spin the rims, but can't do an oil change. I also use it on the table to lift the bike high enough, getting the rear wheel out from under the fender for new skins. Being 59, having a cooler for my six-pack, I don't like getting down too much, hee hee. There is a shitload of parts to all the calipers, plus the pads, about $700 worth in total. Each new OEM caliper is about $500 plus pads times 3. If you couldn't do it yourself, add the shop rate. Most important is cleaning, some brake fluid lube for O-rings and pistons in reassembly, a little brake grease for guide pins, but only the pins with rubber caps. When bleeding the lines, I use electric vacuum pump, borrowed from a friend. I have to make my own one day. In fall 2014, I converted shifter and foot brake to Supreme Legends Ford Controls, the Tribal Series. For the cost of a rebuild kit, $25 US, I decided to do that reservoir as well. It would have haunted my mind if it didn't. Now for the headlights. You wouldn't think so, but it was a major learning curve plus some. I ordered JW Speaker, a leader in LED technology. The M-Series lamp, when banking, will in series light up the rectangle squares along its sides up to 30 degrees, pointing the lights around and into your corner. Pretty much perfect for touring and cruiser bikes. Two mistakes I made on assuming: getting a 7-inch over a 5 3/4, exchanging the 7 for a smaller thinking it would fit the OEM housing. Not the case. You cannot take the glass lens and gray housing apart. Trading up, you'll need to convert. To convert, you'll need a new bucket and adapter mount. There was two buckets, the Cobra 2 and Azure. My supplier, JC at Mean Cycles in Florida, suggested the Azure. A little fatter, a little shorter, room for wire. I bought the Cobra because it looked similar style as the OEM with a little hoodie. When I opened the box from shipping, I was shocked to see both buckets. JC sent me the Azure, no charge, a gift. It would turn out to be the best choice. You also need a bucket mount, and Azure has them to fit. The OEM buckets bolt from the top down. You will have to bolt from the bottom up. If you don't have a light bar, no worries, use what they sent. If you do, like me, you will need to use the spacers and longer bolts, making sure you don't bottom out in the mount. I had changed to a Kirioc bar, so I had to find some to suit. Not sure if these were the original or not, but they worked. Dealing with the kerfuffle of wiring isn't that bad. I've done it before. Taking all the connectors apart, getting them out of the way, will make life easier come time to nest them back in. You only need to take apart what's coming in joining left and right sides of the steering column. The OEM bucket has a huge hole, so no worries getting the clump out. The hole won't be that big on the Azure. Now we make a hole. The Azure bucket is made from die-cast aluminum. Very easy to drill and burr out using a die grinder with a die meant for aluminum. Aluminum burr dies have bigger slots and cut instead of clog like the finer dies for steel. I only want a hole a smidgen bigger than the bulb connector, and pretty much that's all you're gonna get. I will file the edges, then use a couple grits of emery paper to really work the rim smooth. The wiring at the hole is also well protected, and I don't think a weather strip type grommet is needed. It's also quite tight, so nothing should be bouncing around, at least in theory. Tie up neat and a quick test before installing the bezel. Azure has a unique, what they call a fast lock system to hold the headlight and bezel into the bucket. I really like it over the threaded or screw-in type. A bonus that means Cycle passed this bucket on my way. I will use a little fluid film on the lock strap, a solvent-free lubricant with a wool wax formula before sliding the strap through. As mentioned, I traded up the Kirioc and original light bulbs to LEDs as well. I then gave it all a good bench test. I will deal with what LEDs are available for turn signals, but no worries at the moment. The tail light, however, is the only visible light behind me, and it's a dull puppy. I need to find something soon. I wanted to do the oil change next before taking the bike off the lift and set the headlight angle in the dark. I used a 50-50 blend high-performance semi-synthetic. I've always used this brand, recommended by my bike mechanic friend. Changing the oil on my VTX is one of the simplest things to do. If you haven't done one yet, try it. 2 drain plugs, an oil filter, all in the vicinity of my $2 plastic catcher. I'll drain the front plug first, then the rear, and last the filter. I don't think it matters which plug's first. There isn't much in the front. It's just what I do. The most important tool is a filter socket, and I like using a ratchet winch with it. The hammer just happened to be there. There's just enough room to fit them both between the coolant bottle and the oil filter. Once cracked, hand twisting off comes easy. About the filters, whether aftermarket or genuine, my rash is with the fit on the socket. I find some aftermarket are a little sloppy. You may have to use some saran wrap over the filter for a snugger fit getting them off. When putting the filter on, rub some oil on the rubber gasket. You should only need to give a good hand tighten. I also always change the plug washers. They are softer alloy. If you need to reuse, flip them over and only reuse once. I'm a big fan of recycling. There's a lot of places to take it for free, at least here. If you notice how black it is, that is only 4633 kilometers, and I always change it under 5. I will let it run for a bit, then re-snug plugs and filter and check the level. It should only take the 4 liters. Well, it's New Year's Eve, and this is what it looks like outside the shop, also where I live. Don't think I'll be testing her for a few days yet. My partner Chris came by with some beers and a bottle of Bailey's to celebrate the new year. She dug in, helped with some cleaning, polishing, some music, and made it for a fun night. The next day, cleaned up, took the sides off the lift, made as much room as I could to see what the lights looked like in the dark. I will adjust a lateral aim another day when my partner passes by again. I wish I would have taken a picture before, but I didn't. I will tell you, they are 1,000 times better than any H4 bulb I've tried, even just shining in this shop. I can't wait to test them outside. I did this presentation more so for my VTX forums under a thread about this lighting type. I share my stupidity and learning experience openly converting an OEM headlamp, along with doing some other self-maintenance. In hindsight, knowing what I know now, I only needed to decide what lamp size and bucket to go with to suit. I'm happy with the 5 3/4, seems to match good with the Kuryakyn's light bar style and size. If I had a larger style driving lights, the 7-inch could be a good option. The only other piece I will change is my Memphis Shades Fat Series windshield, getting a 7-inch cutout over the 9-inch, making the gap a little tighter. The only thing left now to say is ride, be safe, and thanks for watching.